In my Just Drop That Show video, I mentioned about how you should drop shows earlier, and I still stand by that point. Sticking to something as arbitrary as a 3-episode rule will consume an hour of your day just to see if a show gets good. If I didn't know any better, I would blame Madoka for this damn rule becoming popular. Now that might not seem like much, but just take one look at the seasonal anime chart or your plan to watch list and you'll agree with me. The first episode is important because it's their chance to leave an impression. In a world where we are constantly bombarded with a ton of ads wherever we go or whatever we watch, every product is lucky for us to have even taken a second look at it. And how can a show get you coming back for more every week? By getting you invested in anything they have to offer. Characters, plot, music, plot, humor, plot, anything to get you coming back for more. So when I describe an episode of anime with the phrase, nothing happened, I don't literally mean I watched two characters sitting down in silence for 20 minutes. I mean, there was nothing in the first episode for me to get invested on. Let's look at a fairly popular show from last season, Classroom of the Elites, the show with the most boring first episode. I say this because none of its characters, story, setting, or anything had to offer kept me entertained. Nothing. Note, this should be obvious to everyone, but when I say something is boring, it means I personally found it boring. I do not deny that many people have enjoyed the first episode. That much is obvious just by looking at the mouse score. What are the most common elements of a show people like about the show they enjoy? The main character and the story. If you watched FMA, chances are you liked Ed and Al. If you like One Piece, you probably want to see Luffy become the Pirate King before you die. Essentially, the who and the what. The fuck are they trying to do? Let's start with the main character. Why is the main character important? Because that's the guy you see on screen for 90% of the show. How do you make people like your character? It's not an exact science, but there are a lot of different ways. Maybe everything he does is cool or badass like Sakamoto. Maybe he's really funny like Intoki. Or maybe he's just a guy working really hard for his dream like Deku. Could be any one of those, could be more than one of those. Just anything for me to like about the guy. Classroom of the Elite has nothing of the sort. Kiyotaka Ayanokoji is boring. Yes, I learned his name just for this video. And I wouldn't even be able to tell you anything else about him even if there was a gun to my head. He's even worse than the generic overpowered light novel protagonist because at least those guys get into a dumbass fight so the show has something to show. Not that that's always a good thing. You could replace him from the episode with any generic narrator, and the only difference that would make is that Tits McGee wouldn't have been able to invite Queen Bitch to a fucking cafe. He always talks in this dull, monotone voice, and his expressions are just as boring as his character design. He's not really nice, he's not really an asshole, he has no goals or aspirations, and he does absolutely nothing for the entire episode, and therefore absolutely nothing happens for the entire episode. Until the big twist is revealed. Except it wasn't a big twist because it was predictable as hell. Even one of the characters said it was predictable, and I couldn't agree more. What kind of consequences would these children face if they didn't get any money for the month? We already saw that the shop sold free products, and our main guy even has some money left in the bank. This is certainly not the hell I was imagining in that dumbass foreshadowing, but the show keeps treating it like this is such a big deal by using spooky sound effects and darkening the teacher's eyes while she spits out some harsh words. And the fact that they could have avoided all of this just by acting like decent human beings makes the story a little difficult for me to give an ounce of care. And that goes for everything else about the show. Tits McGee and Queen Bitch was whatever. The setting is in a freaking high school, so that's nothing new. And I'm not really here for the plot, so it's time to wrap up and watch something else. Because in that first episode...
何もなかった